that one over there, just ready to take off.
Which one do you...
How high does Uncle Rick fly, Dad?
Too high, if you ask me.
You're not thinking of grounding him after you two are married, are you, Marge?
Heavens, no.
Hey, look, maybe that's Uncle Rick now. It is Uncle Rick. Wow, look at that suit, just like the wear on the moon, I'll bet.
Yeah.
How are you, boy?
And Tommy, am I glad you can make it? Hi, sweetie. How are you?
Oh, wonderful, darling.
Is that what they wear on the moon, Uncle Rick?
Well, something like this, I suppose, Tommy. Look, well, why don't you let me get out of this spacesuit? It'll only take a few minutes. We'll meet at the club. You know where it is, Marge.
Bye, Uncle Rick. How soon are we going to land on the moon, Uncle Rick? I'll bet you're an expert on that.
Well, thank you, Tommy. Well, actually, I'm only an amateur expert on the subject.
Go ahead, Rick. I'm as curious as Tommy.
If I get started on that subject, you're in for a spell of ear bending.
Good.
Yes, go ahead, Rick. But remember, I've got to get back to Washington. Meantime, I'll just relax.
We'll get you there, Marge. Well, Tommy, our minds have always been able to take us far beyond where our bodies could go, into areas of what we call hostile environments, where we couldn't live, that is, without special equipment.
That's why you wear your spacesuit, isn't it?
Exactly. Well, in one sense, you might say it's like packaging a man in a livable environment. We take our environment with us into altitudes where the air thins out to the vanishing point, where the thermometer drops to a deep cold. Of course, our cockpits are pressurized, just as the inside of any space vehicle will be.
And if anything happens to that?
He's got a suit to protect him.
Well, that's right, Tommy. Technically, the suit I wear is called a high-altitude, full-pressure suit. Did you ever hear of a flyer named Wiley Post?
Wasn't he the first to fly around the world?
Right. He also had the original idea for a full-pressure suit.
Is that so? Wasn't his plane called the Winnie Mae?
Yes. It's at the Smithsonian in Washington. So is his suit.
Speaking of Washington, hadn't we better be leaving soon? I don't like to interrupt our party here. It's cozy and...
That's all right, Marge. She's still a career girl, Ed, so maybe we better get started for Washington.
Of course.
Can we see Wiley's suit?
Well, sure. And his plane, too. Tomorrow. If it's agreeable with you, Ed.
Fine with me. Shall we go?
Sure. How'd he ever set any altitude records with that plane, as well as fly it around the world? Well, he did. That plane with the supercharged engine was quite an aircraft, Tommy.
Oh, I see. The supercharger gave the engine enough air up where the air thins out. Something like your suit does for you.
That's right. There. It tells about Wiley and the Winnie Mae. Tommy, here's Wiley's original pressure suit.
Gee, looks like an old diver's helmet.
Not much difference at that.
How'd he ever get into it?
Well, that was quite a trick. They almost had to lower him into the cockpit once he was in the suit.
Did Wiley make the suit himself?
No, he didn't. But it was designed around his ideas.
You sound as if you were there, Rick.
I guess I do, Ed. Actually, though, you know, I've been interested in Wiley and his aviation career for many years. But along with Wiley, another great airman was interested from the first in his idea for a high-altitude suit.
Oh, who was that?
Jimmy Doolittle.
You mean General Doolittle?
The same. He's also a doctor of aeronautical engineering, among other things. Well, Wiley went to Jimmy Doolittle for advice, as so many others have with their aviation problems and ideas. You know, Tommy, I've had the pleasure of meeting the general, and one time I asked him about Wiley and his idea for a pressure suit.
Wiley told me about his idea for a suit for high-altitude flying, and I said that it would probably have to be made of rubber and fabric for lightness, strength, and flexibility. I then suggested that he take his idea to a company I was cooperating with at the time in the development of aircraft de-icers, which Wiley did.
How long ago was that?
1934.
Gee, that long ago?
Yes. You see, Tommy, Wiley had studied high-altitude flight and wanted to set altitude records with the Winnie Mae. But Wiley, like all pioneers, had to sell his idea, an idea that was far ahead of his time. He had to convince the company that his suit was practical, so he presented his hopes and dreams. His plans for a suit that would hold pressures equal to low altitudes. It was quite an order for the time.
But they made it for him?
Yes, the big company interested in aviation sparked to the sincerity and eagerness of this pioneer. We'll make it, they told him. And at that moment, the granddaddy of high altitude and spacesuits was born.
Did he beat the record?
He sure did. The very next year, he set a new American altitude record.
Yeah, there's been a lot of water over the dam since Wiley's day. Rick, I suppose today's pilots need a lot of specialized training in order to qualify for high-altitude flying, don't they?
Yes, Ed, that's true.
Such as how many G's a man can take?
What exactly is a G? Will one of you spacemen please tell me?
1 G is, well, it's the pull of the Earth's gravity. Right, Uncle Rick?
Correct. Well, let's put it this way, Ed. You weigh about, 160? All right, well, at 2 G's, you'd weigh twice that, or 320. At 3 G's, 3 times that, and so on. Human beings are built to live comfortably in our natural environment of 1 G, or as Tommy says, the normal pull of the Earth's gravity.
How many G's can a man take?
Well, that depends on the man. Now, at Johnsville, Pennsylvania, there's a giant centrifuge, which not only tests a man's ability to take G's, but other things as well. Now, pilots have ventured into space many times without ever having left the Earth. They feel all the bewildering and numbing effects of G forces from every direction as their vehicle accelerates faster and faster. Now, inside, the pilot is up against space movements, action unfamiliar to airborne craft. Roll, pitch, yaw.
And upside down?
Upside down. Of course, out in space, there's no such thing as upside down. But there is centrifugal force, which is the principle the human centrifuge uses to simulate G forces.
Well, like whirling a stone at the end of a string?
Exactly. Well, as a matter of fact, centrifugal force is also used to simulate no G's, or weightlessness.
Well, as in space? But how? We don't have an anti-gravity screen, do we?
Not yet, Tommy. That's still science fiction. However, when a jet is flown upwards at a high speed, so as to follow a path like a high arc, much as though the jet were a stone attached to a string swung from the Earth, somewhere near the top of the arc, centrifugal force almost exactly counterbalances the pull of gravity. Well, then, for a few seconds only, man has actually experienced weightlessness. Now, some people react without any troublesome effects. As a matter of fact, they even enjoy the unique sensations. Others can't take it.
Is that how Earth satellites stay up?
Yes. Anything put into orbit around the Earth stays up only so long as centrifugal force equals the pull or force of gravity. Thus, the two forces cancel each other, and the satellite keeps going. Now, the same will be true of our country's programs to orbit men in space. Of course, any circling space vehicle will have controls to take it out of orbit. Now, to get back, our spacemen will slow down by firing retro rockets. The pull of gravity starts to take over again.
Will the first men in space wear suits like yours, Uncle Rick?
Well, something like mine.
Gee, it must be some job making suits like that.
Yes, I've seen the suits made. Say, maybe you'd like to see them. You know, we might stop off in Akron, Ohio together on my way west. That's where they're made.
You suppose we could? Huh, Dad?
Well, maybe. I'll tell you what, I've got to get back home on the job. I'll fly, and you and Uncle Rick can drive back together if you'd like.
Gee, thanks,
Good.
Dad.
Right now, I think I'll run over and see Pete Smalley. You two spacemen can orbit around by yourselves from here on in. I'll see you before I leave, Rick.
Okay, Ed. We won't fly too high.
Bye, Dad. This certainly has been interesting, Uncle Rick, and I do appreciate it.
Shall we go?
Okay.
See, Tommy? These they're making here are just like mine. Now, this is for an astronaut.
Wow.
And this for the Air Force. Here, try it on.
Thanks.
Hey, this is pretty cool. How about that?
Couldn't hear what you said, sir.
Well, you would have been able to hear what I said if I had the mic turned on, sir.
I wouldn't believe a word of it, young man.
John, you old rascal.
Hi, Rick.
Here, meet Tommy Johnson, my favorite nephew.
My pleasure, Tommy.
Tommy, this is my good friend, Captain Holman.
Glad to meet you, Captain Holman.
I was showing Tommy how pressure suits are made. Like to join us?
Well, sure, be delighted.
Come on, let's go.
And this is where America's spacesuits are made, Tommy. I see they're working on Air Force suits today.
They cut from patterns, just like making regular clothes.
Well, it's a bit more precise than that, Tommy. But not only that, the suits are custom tailored. They've got to fit the man who's going to wear them. Now, there are 12 standard sizes. And look here, Tommy. They're installing air tubes to provide ventilation throughout the entire suit.
How do they make a zipper that won't leak?
That, Tommy, was one of the big steps forward in pressure suits, and many other uses. An airtight, and of course, watertight zipper. Right, Rick?
Right. This company developed it. And not only does it make the suit easier to get in and out of, but look here, Tommy, the gloves zip on and off.
Gloves?
Sure, and with regular pressure in the suit, why, a pilot can even pick up a pin.
May I see a sock, please? Thank you. You see, Tommy, even the sock is air and watertight.
Then the pilot, I mean his whole body, is completely covered.
Well, sure. Remember the main idea? That man has to take his environment with him?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
How are you? They're giving the finished suits a check over here.
Gee, they don't sew up like that, do they?
No, of course they're only testing, but with a man in the
Looks like a
suit-
man from Mars.
You mean a man from Earth?
Where does the air come from? I mean, when's it used?
Normally from connecting into the plane's or spacecraft supply system. But in case that fails, the suit has its own pressure control and oxygen supply, separate from the aircraft or spacecraft.
Do you recall why these suits necessary, Tommy?
Well, yes. As we go higher, the air thins out, and the pilot needs extra air, or rather oxygen, to keep him alive.
Correct. Well, strictly speaking, we talk of air pressure. Now, do you happen to know what that pressure is at sea level?
Something between 14 and 15. We learned that in school.
Good, good. 14.7 pounds per square inch, to be exact. Well, now, man is built to live and breathe comfortably under that pressure. He isn't built to fly like a bird, but he does anyway. In machines, of course. Well, now, as he ascends to about 15,000 feet, he needs extra oxygen because the pressure is down to 8.3. At 35,000 feet, it's down to almost 3.4. But without a full pressure suit, he must now reverse his breathing cycle and exhale forcibly, for oxygen is now being supplied at a pressure greater than his lung pressure. Above 42,000 is through, even with pure oxygen. The surrounding pressure is so low he couldn't breathe if he wanted to, even pure oxygen.
Well, what happens then?
He doesn't go any higher.
You mean without a suit?
Right, or in a pressurized cockpit, capsule, or spaceship. The suit is just in case, if he did go higher, unprotected. Well, now, Tommy, you had science in school. At 63,000 feet, where the pressure is about 1 pound, blood boils right in the body. But at 600 miles, the pressure is estimated to be 0. Now, that's a total vacuum, and certainly a hostile environment for man who was built to live at...
14.7 pounds.
Good. We know man does fly higher. Even Wiley went to 42,000. And man will fly farther, higher, and right into deep space. Avast there!
We're back on the green Earth, remember?
Would you like to try on a spacesuit, Tommy?
Do you think I could, really?
Sure. I think they might have one near enough your size.
Oh, boy. How do I look?
Just like a spaceman. I mean a man from Earth.
Take me to your leader. How much pressure do they usually put in these suits?
Oh, enough pressure to maintain an absolute suit pressure of 3.4. Well, that's about equal to 35,000 feet. The pilot feels and breathes comfortably.
And so you had quite an experience, huh?
I should say so.
Well, tell me, son, just when are we going to land on the moon?
Oh, Dad, even Uncle Rick doesn't know that. At least not yet. But we'll do it someday.
I'm sure we will.
You know, Dad,
Hmm?
I'd kind of like to be a space flyer. Or maybe a space scientist.
Well, you know, son, a career like that is going to require more than wishing to make it come true. You're going to have to be willing to work hard in school. And you can't do it by avoiding high school subjects that'll qualify you for science courses in college. You know, some say that the nation's greatest need in the years ahead will be for scientists and engineers. And they're going to have to be trained to meet the new problems and the new opportunities of the space age.
I'll bet a lot more kids would study science if they knew how interesting it is. You know, Dad, Uncle Rick says we're just on the edge of space.
Yes, it's the greatest frontier we've ever dreamed of. Who knows what life awaits us in what faraway places out there in space.
B.F. Goodrich salutes Alan B. Shepard, America's first spaceman, and his fellow astronauts. Our company is proud to have developed the suit used in our nation's entry into space.